Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Piecing It Together, the podcast where we take a look at a new movie and try to figure out what other movies may have inspired it. Today on the show, we got a really fun one for you. But before we get into that, I just want to remind you all, please make sure you are subscribed to Piecing It Together. You can subscribe on pretty much any podcast app out there. You can also review us on iTunes, and you can follow us on social media at PiecingPod. You can also go to our website, piecingpod.com, and get signed up for the mailing list. I keep talking about this, but we're going to be doing some giveaways real soon, and let me just say that you're going to have to be signed up for that email list if you want to get some of these cool prizes. I got movies we're going to be giving away. I got some crazy old school movie memorabilia I'm going to be giving away that just happened to come into Wax Trax Records, my family's record store. I don't even know how I got the stuff, but some really cool shit, and you guys are going to want some of it. So yeah, make sure you're signed up to the mailing list over on piecingpod.com. What else we got going on? Well, in a couple days from when this episode is going up, I am going to be heading to Philadelphia for the Podcast Movement Convention. I'm really looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to meeting other podcasters, doing a lot of networking. I'm also going to be doing a bunch of interviews while I'm there. I'm going with Q, my buddy from Bird Road, who also owns the All Points West network. And we're going to be doing a live show of Bird Road. We're also hosting a meetup. So, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, and plus I love hanging out with him, so I'm really looking forward to it. We're going to have a lot of fun out there. Hopefully get some new stuff planned for this show, too, while I'm there. I'm looking forward to hopefully meeting some other movie podcasters there, because I want to be on some more shows. I want to have some new guest co-hosts on this show. So I guess that brings us to today's movie. We're going to be talking about Skyscraper, the new action extravaganza starring The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. It's a pretty ridiculous movie. It's about a guy who is trying to get a job as a security advisor for this giant mega tower skyscraper in Hong Kong. And basically, needless to say, there's a setup, and all of a sudden his family is stuck in the tower, and some terrorists have set it on fire, and he needs to get back into the tower and get up there to save them, and it's completely ridiculous. Everyone who has talked about this movie has pointed out the parallels to Die Hard, so we're obviously going to start off by talking about Die Hard, but we also get into a lot of other puzzle pieces, and it's a fun movie to talk about, so I hope you enjoy this conversation I have with co-host Kris Krainock. All right, so we got Kris Krainock back with us again for another episode. How you doing there, Kris?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. So today we're talking about Skyscraper, The Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, are you
excited? I smell what he's cooking. Yeah, it's the people's movie.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was just telling you beforehand, I saw this with my dad, which certainly increased the experience for me. You know?
Yep.
Yeah, I actually, as soon as we left the theater, he told me that I had to Photoshop his head onto the poster, and I posted on Facebook. We got a lot of likes.
Yeah, I think I saw it actually.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
Yeah, that was my job for the day.
It's funny, that even the poster is The Rock climbing back into a window or something, which happens 45 to 75 times in the movie.
Yeah,
and I think the movie should be renamed from Skyscraper to The Benefits of Upper Body Strength, because I really think that's like the real.
Yeah,
that's the real title.
It looks so effortless.
Oh my god!
Yeah, he's just like swinging and climbing and like.
Yeah, he's really successful.
Yeah,
like in a lot of impossible scenarios, he does like first try.
Yeah,
does amazing, like ridiculous.
Yeah, people talk about how CGI can sometimes make movies feel like there's no stakes or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, holy shit, this is the movie.
Yeah, I feel like The Rock makes it feel like there's no stakes.
Yeah.
He's the perfect human being. So
yeah, well, President Rock pretty soon. But,
I hope so.
Yeah. So
just kidding. Sound of gunshot. Sound of gunshot.
So this movie, I think it's pretty much a movie that wears its inspirations on its sleeve. The director has talked about it many times about the fact that this movie is and we'll jump right into it right now. This movie is Die Hard in a skyscraper with The Rock.
Basically.
Yeah.
But also, too, at the same time, as easy as it is to like find that source, action movies are really hard to talk about their influences.
Yeah.
Because they're just a series of tropes that every other action movie has just done. So, like, where does it really begin? You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? So, yeah, so it's an easy movie to talk about influence-wise, and it's also kind of a challenge.
Yeah. Yeah, because also that's another thing is like, as we get into talking about this, I mean, it's going to be, oh, that's influenced by Die Hard. That's influenced by Die Hard. That influenced Die Hard. It's like Die Hard in many ways is like the ultimate.
Yeah,
you know?
It's like this snake swallowing its own tail, like Ouroboros thing. I don't know really where it begins or where it ends.
Absolutely.
Is it Die Hard or is it not?
Right.
Or is it Die Hard just a better version of the same crap? I mean, I don't think Die Hard's particularly that original, but it's just good.
Right.
Yeah, that's the thing is we talk about it, I think, in the last couple episodes. Like, I don't care if it's that like groundbreaking. You're not going to reinvent the wheel every time, but if it works, it works. And I feel like the Die Hard's an example of like it just works.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
it does. But yeah, I mean, getting into puzzle pieces, obviously Die Hard is going to be the first one we talk about. And I thought if anyone was on this show, would be talking about Die Hard. So I thought rather than just say Die Hard and talk about Die Hard, we should talk, before we get into other puzzle pieces, a little bit about what this movie gets right and what it gets wrong of the Die Hard formula.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
I think, you know, right off the bat, I mean, the first thing, you know, to varying degrees of success, is just a kind of nonstop action movie that's totally over the top. I think that's what it gets right about it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I feel like, you know, the action, you know, it obviously, with the skyscraper aspect, it preys on the fear of heights and things, and I found myself, you know, sweaty palmed at certain aspects. Not particularly because I was particularly engaged in the movie, just because it looked high and tall
and hot.
Yeah, especially because The Rock was on screen, so it was real hot.
Absolutely.
You know, and no, but so yeah, no, it does. I mean, it works purely from an action level. It was fun. You know, that kind of overused expression, roller coaster ride of crazy things.
Right.
You know, it was kind of like the more ridiculous Revenant, which is just a series of crazy things that happen. I feel like this was that as well.
That
wasn't one of my puzzle pieces, but I'm going to wedge it in there.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
I just, like, oh, here's what's the next thing that's going to happen.
Yeah.
This is how you kind of watch these movies.
And then The Rock ends up sleeping in a deer.
Yeah, I was going to say, the Rock is the one that The Rock would have slept with the bear instead of the other way around.
Absolutely.
On the Revenant.
That's right.
Yeah.
One of the things I think this is the number one thing that this movie gets wrong, is the bad guys.
Yeah.
And
that's a good point.
This is a major opportunity for there to be some really fun bad guys, some just totally scenery chewing bad guys, you know, someone to stand up to that Hans Gruber legacy, you know, and I just don't think the bad guys in this really do it.
Yeah, no, I mean, you know, what's funny is it actually is a little bit more telling about a general problem in movies today, which is like, it's really hard to have a good bad guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I mean, Marvel has that problem. Marvel has like endless issues with its bad guys. Not to get too off subject, but I saw Ant-Man and Wasp, and it was so refreshing to see a bad guy who like just wanted money.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Was like, he wasn't like, I wanted to destroy the universe for the good of the universe. He's like, I need some money. And then there's also like, and that was like nice.
Yeah,
there was like an idiot gangster, and then the girl with the thingy, which she wants to be better or whatever. That's okay. That's good too. But mainly it was just like some idiot Texan gangster, and he just wanted money. That was really nice. So no, it's totally missed opportunity. These were kind of like the, you know, out of the package bad guys. They all, of course, they had an accent.
Yeah,
you know, Eastern European or something, and you know, but you know, it makes you think about why Hans Gruber is such a great character, and I think it's the performance of Alan Rickman. I think it's the depth of the performance. Yeah, because I mean, he didn't have that overly sophisticated of motives. It wasn't, you know, nothing that was like, again, too original, but he just brought such an atmosphere to the character and the performance and made him unique. So it almost makes us want to question what makes a good villain. How do you get really a good villain in today's movies?
Right. Yeah, because it's definitely a balancing act of like totally over the top, but still with some kind of an actual motivation and something worth
following along.
Right. Yeah, because
you know?
we're also living in the era of post Heath Ledger. Heath Ledger. That's my new favorite. He's basically leather now by now, but he's Heath Ledger's Joker.
Yeah.
We're living in that post world, so we're like, if you're not. If the stakes aren't so high that you're like a Thanos type character, then you're also like you just want to watch the world burn. Like you're just a crazy character with no real motive except for like some kind of loose philosophical thing, and which has got, of course, less and less potent over the. It's not done as well. It's not nearly as much as support as the Joker character had story wise. So you just kind of have like these random crazies.
Yeah,
and so I mean it's really hard. I feel like they in Skyscraper they kind of gave you a reason, with like a USB drive or whatever. But it was I was really not paying attention by that point. I was like, I really don't care why they're trying to burn this place down. Is The Rock shirtless yet?
Yeah, right. Where are we in the shirt factory at this point?
Is he swinging off something? I don't know. Care what this guy wants.
You know who I thought would have made a better villain in this? And I don't think you saw this. I remember we talked about it, but the Hurricane Heist. Ralph Ineson.
Oh,
he was in The Witch. That guy would have been great. He kind of is similar to the guy that they got for the villain. He kind of gives off a lot of that same energy, but I think he would have kind of brought it up a notch.
Yeah, I agree. I can see that.
He's so ridiculous in The Hurricane Heist. I love him. Shout out to Ralph Ineson.
Well, like, this is the kind of movie that we were talking about it before we started recording, but like, we wanted it to be sillier than it was.
Yes.
The movie ends up being a little too serious, I think, for its own good.
Yeah.
It basically tried to make a family drama out of like an absurd, over-the-top action movie.
Yeah.
But like you could have gone the route of like, because they have obviously the central aspect of the movie is this gigantic tower, this amazing, feat of architecture, which is really cool in its idea. Like I like the building and everything. But like, the character really didn't, the villain, I mean, didn't really have any like specific reason to not care about this building. It was only because the owner and this flash drive that contained information about his crime syndicates and things.
Right.
But there was no like real connection to the building, which I think you could have made a little bit more compelling of a villain who had some kind of view on globalization of how this new building's going to factor into the world economy, or have some, I don't know. And that's the thing, you don't have to make it that good. Just like chalk some crap up and tie it to some larger idea maybe. And I don't know. It all kind of felt like we're just trying to get more scenes of The Rock jumping around.
Sure.
And so,
well, it's weird that this movie wasn't as funny as we thought it would be. I don't know if you saw the name of the guy who directed it. It actually wrote and directed it. Rosen Marshall Thurber. He did Dodgeball, Easy A, and We're the Millers.
Yeah, he's an auteur.
Yeah, he's an auteur, absolutely.
Writer and director.
Yeah. This is a vision here. But you would think that the guy who made Dodgeball would have taken this concept and really made it ridiculous. And I mean, there's a couple of all right jokes in there, but I mean, for the most part, it is just deadly serious the whole time.
Yeah, you know what I think it is? It's you look at a movie like Dodgeball and you think, oh, well, there's a self-awareness about these filmmakers. They're obviously making fun of, they're poking fun at things and they're really in tune. But I think in this instance, my gut says that they wanted to like do a throwback to like an 80s, 90s action film. And that and those movies were really absurd for the most part. Like they were like ridiculous.
Sure.
But there was a period of time where we took them pretty seriously. They weren't funny. They were just ridiculous. We just bought them.
Yeah.
It was kind of before the age of like hyper-realism that we're in now. We could get away with sillier
things. That is a
things.
tough thing to capture.
And in today's world where we are a little more desensitized, we want more realism. Yeah. Just by nature, it's what we've been consuming. And then you try to like really do an honest, like, I'm gonna go make an 80s movie of today. And you think I'm gonna make it serious. Like there's real stakes here, quote unquote. It just all kind of falls apart. And it's not really the movie's fault more than it is the audience. So like, is this the time for this type of movie? Do we really need like an honest look at an 80s action movie? And it's like, no.
Yeah,
no, we don't.
That's an interesting point. It's almost like this is a really good case of people never really knowing what it is that they want. Always complaining about something. And it's like, not to give the movie too much credit, although I did like it a little bit. But, it's kind of... Yeah, a case of like, if we wanted the comedy and it was too funny, we probably would have been complaining about that.
Yeah,
you know?
the audiences suck.
Yeah.
I mean, myself included. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like we are very needy and we don't accept things as they are. You know what I mean? We always want from the internet age. I was reading an interesting article about because today is actually the 10th year anniversary of Dark Knight. Which came out.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
10 years to the day it was released. And how it changed the landscape of like if you didn't call it perfect as a critic, then you got like death threats on Rotten Tomatoes,
Yeah.
like really insane stuff like that. So I read an interesting article about that. But yeah, that's really like the internet and us giving feedback to the filmmakers, and it's almost taken the test screening idea, which is so horrible and evil, and then giving it like to the masses, on chat boards and stuff. So yeah, no, it's true. I mean, this movie may have been more successful if it came out in 1992.
Sure.
And I think that it is to the credit of the filmmakers that I think it honestly tried to be one of those movies, as opposed to like making fun of those films or winking at the audience. He was like, no, I really like those movies. We're gonna make one. So there is a good aspect to their approach.
And that's exactly why I like the Hurricane Heist. I keep talking about it, but it knows what it is, and it just went for it. You know what I mean? But actually, just to bring it back, it's totally unrelated, but that thing about the Dark Knight, I never really thought about that before, but I think the Dark Knight is when people started obsessing over Rotten Tomatoes scores.
I think so.
Yeah,
because there was the first time comic books were taken seriously as an art form in cinema, and then all these people were like, well, now that's it, it's perfect.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty damn good movie. It's one of my puzzle pieces. Spoiler, but we talked about that movie before and how it's essentially Heat.
Yeah.
We mentioned, I think this conversation or the one before it, that it's basically Heat with Batman, and that to me in hindsight is now kind of like, oh well, this wasn't quite as revolutionary as I thought that it was, but it is in a lot of ways too. So I still love the film, but it's far from perfect. But it's a pretty damn important masterpiece of the last 10 years.
Yeah, I actually am one of those few people who didn't love it on release. I still think Heath Ledger's performance deserves every last accolade it got. I think he's so fucking good in it. And it's
Heath
like
Leather.
Yeah, Heath Leather. But and there's a lot I do love about the movie. I just always kind of felt it was a little overrated. Like people put a little too much on it, but that's another conversation. Maybe we'll do one of those backwards episodes I've talked about on the Dark Knight. That would be fun.
Yeah, it'll be 9.5 hours long.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. So I don't know. I think with that we could probably move on from Die Hard. Obviously, it's been done to death talking about Die Hard in this movie. Although I do want to mention real quick before we move on, I actually had an argument on a Facebook group yesterday, with someone who said it was ridiculous to say that this was anything like Die Hard.
Wow.
I was like, what?
Yeah, the poster is the same.
Yeah,
he made the poster that way. That's all you need to send them the poster and then say nothing else. That's what I would do.
I don't know what to do with people.
Yeah. And before I'll say one last thing before we move on.
Yeah, sure.
That I honestly, it's the charisma of Bruce Willis that I think makes the balance of Die Hard work so brilliantly. His ability to be funny and heroic and kind of even more humanized than The Rock. The Rock is almost like this really impervious type character in this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, not impervious, he's injured and things, but he's just like, he's jumping over a ridiculous amount of space and totally insane. To where the Bruce Willis character and performance seemed almost kind of grounded. Like, it brought me back to the broken glass and on the feet and stuff, and like, I guess that's a bit unrealistic because it probably cut major arteries and you would die. But there was something so like gritty and real about that at the same time. You kind of forgot the fact that it was maybe improbable, and it added a sense of realism to it. And then the charisma and comedy and humor and timing of Bruce Willis, I think, made it kind of the classic that it is. And the one thing that Skyscraper, I think, really was lacking is like the charisma of The Rock, which is crazy to say. That
because
sounds
he
oxymoronic.
Is so charismatic. It's
he's
crazy.
So charismatic. You know what I mean? Like, I love The Rundown because of him and Christopher Walken. But that's not a bad movie, and it's because The Rock is great to watch. He's like the few people that transitioned from wrestler for the WWE to a real legitimate actor. And then I watched today this movie, and I didn't feel like he was bringing it. I don't
Yeah.
think he had any of that charisma. He was kind of just like a sad guy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very strange that they went that direction with it. But yeah, I mean,
Good to meet you, Will.
Yeah.
Heck of a family you got there.
Heck of a family
That's
you got
that's all I'm gonna say. It sums up the whole movie.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna go with the next puzzle piece actually.
Yep.
Because it kind of ties in with what we were just talking about with the Rock, just like swinging around and jumping around on the side of the building and everything, and that is actually King Kong.
Oh wow! Boo!
Yeah.
Yes.
The Rock is a fucking beast. That's what I have written down here, and you know, at any point during this movie, I could have pictured the helicopters just shooting him and it not even bothering him.
No.
You know? And just going roar and, you know, knocking them away and stuff. I mean, he's a monster on the side of this building climbing up it. And
wow, yeah, I didn't even see it.
Yeah, it just totally reminded me of King Kong's, you know, climbing up.
Yeah, the ascent.
Yeah,
it's beauty that killed the Rock.
Yeah.
You know, which I hope the Rock hears this because he doesn't even want to be called the Rock anymore. Now he's just straight Dwayne Johnson.
Dwayne Johnson.
But guess what? He's always the Rock to us.
Dwayne Kong Johnson.
Exactly. Yeah, and I can really see it now visually. I think there's a huge visual parallel.
Yeah.
Because he's so big. I mean, I think the Rock is really a huge man.
Yeah, and it's a combination of his size. And also that what we talked about earlier about how it just seems so effortless, how he's moving up this building. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like, I mean, there's some scenes where he's like, oh, he's almost going to fall or whatever. But it's like, for the most part, he's got this. You know,
he's fine.
Yeah, he's just going off instinct, just swinging and jumping.
There's like a monkey bar scene.
Yeah,
there's literally a monkey bar scene.
There is.
And he kills it.
Yeah.
I think I've done 2 successful monkey bars in my life. And this guy, with like thousands of feet between him and the ground, was just monkey barring the shit out of that thing, that building. And yeah, really, I mean, totally insane. Yeah. I mean, totally ridiculous. Well, it's funny, it kind of brings me to my puzzle piece. Can I go in?
Absolutely.
To my puzzle piece? The movie, maybe I'm crazy, but I kept thinking of True Lies. In this because for a couple reasons. Because True Lies sticks out to me as like one of the most absurd of the action movies, almost like hit the zenith of insanity. Like they were like fighting on the wing of like a fighter jet. And maybe I don't know if you remember that part.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen it.
Yeah, they were literally karate fighting on the wing of a fighter jet. Like it's so stupid and crazy. So there's like aspects of the insanity, aspects of the over the top elements of the action that I think are really reminiscent of this. And I think it's like one of those early 90s ones because people are saying that, you know, of course this is like Die Hard, which was in the 80s, but there's also like a lot of early 90s action in my mind when I think of this movie. It actually, even though it has plot elements of Die Hard, it really feels like it's in the vessel of a 90s action movie.
Sure.
To me, for me anyway. And True Lies just kept coming into my mind. And then the other parallel with True Lies is that Arnold Schwarzenegger is supposed to be like a normal guy. He's like, and like The Rock is supposed to be a semi-normal guy.
Right.
But they're like, is it weird? This is just me. I can't really look at bodybuilders around other normal people.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that they have wives and kids. Like, that they're just like walking around going grocery shopping. They're lifting things. They're bulging. They're there. So when I saw The Rock with Neve Campbell, I was like, that looks weird. And then when I saw Arnold Schwarzenegger with Jamie Lee Curtis, I was like, that looks weird.
Yeah.
And I felt the same exact feeling. So that's why I picked it as my puzzle piece.
I think that's a good one. Yeah, absolutely.
The Rock's too big. There's a part in it when he's putting his fake leg on because he has one leg. Hilarious. Not intentionally, though, but just funny. He uses it to open doors. It's like a MacGyver thing.
Yeah.
Another puzzle piece, side puzzle piece, MacGyver. But he's getting ready in the morning for that meeting, and he's just in the bathroom, and he's like, he's the size of the bathroom.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how is this not going to become an action movie with this man in it? He's not going to a job interview. He's going to go blow up a building and climb and stuff.
It would have been funny if there was a scene where like like almost like a cartoon where someone like smashes through a glass window and they have like a regular size silhouette through the glass, and then he smashes through the glass window. It's a bigger size silhouette.
I don't feel like we're breaking new ground. People know The Rock's big, but this is in the context of him trying to be like a family man.
Yeah,
it just doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, go pick something up, Rock. You're too big. All right, so True Lies.
All right. True Lies is a good one. My next puzzle piece, and yeah, talking about like this is more into the late 90s, or it might have been no, I think it was late 90s. The Rock. Not The Rock the actor, but The Rock the movie.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean the whole breaking in, getting through like security systems, all that kind of stuff, and that whole thing. There's a million movies I could have picked for this particular idea.
Sure.
But that just seems like such a perfect one. For the kind of obstacles that he had to face aside from the the swinging and stuff like that, but the rest of them.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of interesting because he's like an expert on the security system,
Right.
Which I'm a little fuzzy on actually, because is he like bidding for the job?
Yes.
Or does he already have the job?
No, I think he's trying to get the job.
So they've already given him the entire access to the schematics and design of the building, but he's not hired yet.
Right, because the other guy set him up to be fake hired, so that way they could
get the tablet, get the iPad.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. I was like, what? Because there was never ever a moment where he was like, "You got the job, Rock." It was just like, here's your iPad. And I was like, "Oh, has he already been hired?" So I don't know. I don't know if I was following it or maybe I blacked out.
Yeah, it's a tough thing to follow.
I was counting the shirt buttons on Rock's shirt. I was like, when are these things popping? Right. So, that's the thing is that's another bringing back to the idea that this is kind of a hard movie to make puzzle pieces.
Exactly.
Because there are literally a billion movies that are like this. It's really a formula that transcends Die Hard for sure.
Yeah.
The only thing is there's like a skyscraper, and that's really what connects Die Hard, really, in my opinion. That's the biggest thing, and the poster and the
sure,
and the atmosphere and stuff. But for the most part, it's all full of tropes from things that are far beyond that. You know what I mean? The opening sequence of him as an FBI agent who's going in, he gets blown up, he loses a leg, and it's just kind of that melodrama.
Yeah. Which, by the way, there was snow during that scene, which I actually started laughing because I was like, "Oh, it's going to be set in Christmas."
Oh yeah, right, exactly. No, it was just in Minnesota.
Yeah,
and it snows 365 days a year there. So.
Right, exactly.
That's an interesting puzzle piece, The Rock, which is kind of an interesting movie. It's definitely a better movie of the time.
Mm-hmm.
The Rock was a pretty big deal when it came out with Sean Connery and the long hair and all that.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a big deal when it happened. Pardon me.
Absolutely.
Can I move on to the next puzzle piece?
Absolutely.
My next puzzle piece is an older film called The Towering Inferno.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, this movie is essentially the most important or the largest influence on the film besides Die Hard.
Mm-hmm.
Would be The Towering Inferno, which is literally about a luxury office building that's very tall that gets set on fire, and then people inside of it try to get out of it.
Yeah.
So the premise, essentially, minus some of the more plotty elements of the mafia and flash drives and Hong Kong and all that.
Right.
It's basically The Towering Inferno. Just straight in a nutshell.
Yeah.
They're very, very similar.
No, absolutely. I think that is that's a really influential movie too.
In general, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's another one going back again to the idea of this being a somewhat difficult movie to talk about because a lot of these movies are going to be things that are so influential on so many different movies.
Sure.
To try to narrow it down to just this movie. But absolutely, Towering Inferno is like a perfect one for this movie.
Yeah, it fits like a glove, basically.
Yeah,
and in a good way. I mean, I was reading some reviews, like some user reviews, which you should never do.
Yeah,
never ever read user reviews on IMDb or Rotten Tomatoes or anything. They're bad people out there on the internet. But a lot of people were talking about how it was a nice, kind of they revisited that film through this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And because this movie in general has kind of been received lukewarm. It's not like a huge hit,
right?
But people like it for the most part.
I think so. I think it's going to play a lot better overseas. I think it's one of those movies that's like tailor-made for overseas.
Yeah, I think so. Exactly. Yeah. Which is the whole big push we're doing in general. Trying to get overseas markets. But anyway, so The Towering, for people really have enjoyed it, and I think that it was a callback to an kind of an older time, an older type of film. Towering Inferno had a little bit more of an elegance about it,
Sure.
but it was still kind of edgier seat. And so yeah, it was a kind of a nice callback to that film.
Absolutely. Well, sticking with big towers, my next puzzle piece is Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol.
Boom! It's one of mine.
Nice.
So we'll have to, okay.
Right on. Yeah. Just Tom Cruise climbing up the side of a super tall building.
Yeah.
You know, he does it and, you know, is probably on the side of the super tall building.
Yeah.
So it's a little more higher stakes, but
I love Tom Cruise trying to kill himself. It's
Yeah.
really fun to watch.
oh yeah, absolutely.
He's always like, I'm gonna do the craziest thing, and I'm like, I'm gonna go pay and watch it.
Yeah.
You got me, Tom. Because it's funny. My girlfriend loves the Mission Impossible franchise. Loves it to
Yeah.
a degree. We fight about it because it's not a good franchise.
See, I actually think it's finally hit its stride in the last few movies.
Well-
I love the last two so much.
I didn't like the fourth one, but I really got on board with the fifth one.
Yeah.
I thought the fifth one was actually a really good action film. I really sincerely enjoyed it. And I saw it in theaters because I was dragged.
Yeah.
And I was like, they didn't get it right 4 times. Like,
Yeah.
because it's funny that, slightly off topic, the Ghost Protocol, the fourth film,
Mhm.
it had an amazing trailer. It was
Yeah.
like, it was edited to like an Eminem song, but it was like really potent. It's like really well done. And I was like,
Yeah.
well, that's a really good trailer. Like, I'd love to just check that out. Like, it looks good.
Yeah.
And I ended up not liking it. But then the fifth one happened, and I was like, wow, I really enjoyed it. Like, I walked out of the theater super satisfied, and I'm excited for the next one, because it's in Paris mainly, but also because I think it's somehow crawled out of being total shit
Yeah.
into being really like good spy action films.
I love the fourth one.
Wow, really?
Yeah, that's actually my favorite one. But as far as the trailer, you're absolutely, what a great trailer.
Wow,
the fourth
blew
one.
my mind.
And also this new one, what a freaking great trailer. I'm
Great
super
trailer.
excited for this movie. I actually just found out the other day that the music in the trailer was Imagine Dragons, and I was so disappointed in myself that I was like, oh, this song rocks, you know? but
Hey, sometimes movies transform music.
yes,
I'm gonna say
absolutely.
something very unpopular, which
Uh-huh.
is I hate the Doors.
Okay.
But they're so perfect in Apocalypse Now that I
Sure.
just can't. Like, it's so brilliant, and it makes me like the Doors
Yeah.
because it's so good. So anyway, so it's like that. But yeah, we're still talking about that damn trailer.
Yeah.
It was that good.
Yeah.
It was like, this is an amazingly good trailer.
Trailers are like a whole thing to themselves. There's so many like trailers where I'm just like, I completely remember the trailer more than the movie.
Sure.
you know?
Oh, most movies I enjoy the trailer more
Yeah.
than the movie itself. Like, I'd say 90-10.
Yeah.
Because most movies are horrible for the most part.
Maybe I should do a quick little mini plug for I'm doing a little sideshow now called Mini Movie Review that I've been hired to do actually, where I review trailers. So
Oh, get outta
check
here.
out Mini Movie Review.
Do it. Look, that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah,
That sounds really good.
pretty sweet. I'll tell you more about it after the show.
Okay. Got it.
So what would your next puzzle piece be?
Okay, so we talked about Mission Impossible because my puzzle piece was like the franchise basically. Because just to touch on it one little bit more,
Sure, absolutely.
besides the scaling of the tall building, I really felt there was kind of like a polish about Skyscraper that was reminiscent of the Mission Impossible franchise. Kind of how its editing pace, its color, its general atmosphere, tone. It kind of
Sure.
fit. I felt like it in the more action moments of a Mission Impossible. It kind of felt like an elongated version of that. So I felt that like a Mission Impossible 3, for instance,
Mhm.
kind of a J.J. Abrams vibe. I sensed there was like a little bit of a vibe that they shared, those two films.
No, that's a really good point. Yeah, because the movie has that like that real sleekness to it.
Exactly.
And like, yeah.
Like, these are very competently made films.
Oh yeah,
Th-
absolutely.
This is the kind of movie that like movie people like myself can have a field day picking apart.
Yeah.
Because this shows you craftsmen. Like, these guys get up and they make action movies, and it's like it's really hard work, and they're really good at it. Everything looks great. Like a friend of mine actually did the lighting for the film. The gaffer on the film as a gentleman that I know. legend in his field. He's a phenomenal, did a million classic American films. He's a great guy. And, and I'm paying attention to the lighting, of course, and it's flawless.
Yeah, sure.
And that's just one example of the kind of craftsmanship that goes into these kind of films. And then at the same time, they're just kind of like idiotic and insane.
Yeah.
And you're like, it's amazing that so much money and time and effort and skill and craftsmanship went into The Rock like jumping out of a window and dangling, and like the gorilla from King Kong, and you're just like, what the hell is going on in the world? Like, how does this even happen? Your brain just hurts, if you think of it in those terms. But Mission Impossible, and especially as they've increased, and there's been now 4, 5, 6, their craftsmanship is unbelievable. I mean, because they are truly trying to compete with the James Bond films.
Yeah.
I mean, they are like the American James Bond, essentially.
Yeah.
And so their craftsmanship is flawless. And so I think when I look at Skyscraper, I see that kind of quality in its craft.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. I can give you another one, or do you want to go?
Sure. Yeah. Why don't you go ahead next?
Okay. So this is actually one I thought of just now.
Okay.
And it's a little. I don't know if I'm just gonna name a random movie because it kind of popped into my head, but it's more about the genre.
Okay.
The genre of this almost feels like a disaster film.
Okay.
And it's because the tower itself. I was thinking like maybe like 2012 or like the day after tomorrow, films like that. Not quite so environmentally focused.
Yeah.
But the building in Skyscraper is so humongous. There's like a park in the center of it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of like foliage and things like that. And so you get, as the fire ascends, you get these amazing like destructive sequences where like things are just exploding and falling and breaking, and it almost felt like a disaster film contained into a building. Yeah. It really, and I felt like I was watching a disaster movie.
They do call it the 8th or 9th or whatever wonder of the world. So
yeah.
So those things are always getting blown up in disaster movies.
Yeah, no, I mean, it really felt like a disaster film as I was watching it.
Yeah.
And that kind of, as we were talking about, the kind of the vibe and the tone of it. So I'd say like not quite like a 2012, and that's kind of a random disaster film, but more the genre.
Well, another thing that I think is another reason that's a good one is a lot of times those movies tend to just shove in this extra plot of villains and stuff when really we really only need the disaster. You know what I mean? And so there's so many like double crossings and extra villains and stuff like that just thrown in here.
It's like the planet's cracking. Can we get all on the same side?
Yeah, exactly. And we get a little bit of that with Skyscraper. It's like, do we really need, I think there's like 3 bad guys, and then there's, the family getting missing, and then there's just all these little extra bits and pieces where it could have just been good as just a simple rescuing his family, and that was the only thing.
Yeah, it's true. There's a lot of unnecessary plot.
Yeah.
We had to somehow justify why these villains set the building on fire to begin with.
Yeah.
But it could have been, like I said, I mean, you should always accept the movie for what it is, and there could have been a million different versions of this movie if there was one more person working on it or something. So it's hard to say like, oh, it should have been this or it should have been that.
Yeah.
But like, I think I would have probably enjoyed the movie more if there was some kind of comment on the idea. Like the building was almost irrelevant to the movie. It was just like it was a big, cool building.
Right.
But there was no real like comment on, what a building, like a structure like this would mean, or if there was some kind of futurism vibe or undertone that it could comment on about this kind of building. It didn't really have any of those. Like the building was suspiciously not a part of the story. It was just like a good playground.
Yeah.
And that was the end of it. And then we kind of pumped in this plot with like bad guys with accents that wanted a flash drive, or, and I was like not into it. I was like, rock, climbing, thank you. That's it. Shirtless.
You got that though.
Yeah, I got a lot of that. I did get a lot of that though, so I shouldn't complain too much.
So my next puzzle piece, this is a very simple one. It's just a scene basically, but and I don't think it's a very. This is one of those cases where I don't think the director was really influenced by this, but it just kind of reminded me of it. Do you remember Sherlock Holmes 2?
I remember it well.
Yeah, yeah. So the whole ending scene
Game of Shadows.
Yeah. That as soon as it started, I was like, yeah, this totally reminds me of that movie. Like,
yeah, I totally see
the whole fight on the roof. I don't know. You know what I mean.
Oh yeah,
You
it's
know?
I mean, it's pretty damn close actually. Now
Yeah.
that you mention it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's fire everywhere. They're falling off. There's
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I actually have a really random one that I was gonna save for the end because it's so
Uh-huh.
random.
Yeah.
But it seems like a good segue.
Sure.
So I'll jump in on with it. You're gonna laugh at me,
Okay.
okay? The Shining. Okay.
Here we
Now
go.
hear me out on this. Okay, hear me out on this. I won't go into a long just rant about it, don't worry. Or will I? I don't know. No, so first of all, there's a part where The Rock is wielding an axe. Okay, first thing. That's first breadcrumb. Second breadcrumb is the bad guys following the little girl, his daughter,
Mm.
and he's using her water footprints, like from wet feet on the ground, and then they stop all of a sudden,
Mhm.
like they vanish in the snow with Danny.
Yeah.
And then he looks up and boom, there she is. And then The Rock comes with an axe. And then the end of the movie ends with like that kind of maze with all the different things, all the different panels that have reflective, which I don't get what the fuck that shit is. Like, why is that a thing? And why do people want to go there and visit it to see themselves from a different angle? I don't know. But then it's like a maze.
Welcome to heaven.
Yeah, welcome to heaven. You can see yourself from all angles. And confused with a person standing next to you. Are they next to you or are they not? That is heaven. Being confused about your depth perception. Anyway, so I don't understand the appeal of that at all, by the way, BTW.
Yeah.
But it does end in a maze.
Mhm.
So I think axe, water footprints, reminiscent of snow footprints, and ending in a maze, I think makes it at least semi-cogent. Why I would say The Shining is somewhat of an influence.
I'd say this movie basically is The Shining.
Except for The Rock's trying to save his kid, not murder him. But everything else is the same, man.
Yeah, sure.
I'm gonna every time I'm on this show, I'm gonna mention The Shining.
I think that's probably gonna happen,
Yep.
and that's perfectly okay with me.
You don't think I have any credibility to that at all?
No, absolutely.
Okay, I was gonna say.
There's some little.
The thing is,
tidbits.
the axe is totally kind of silly,
Yeah.
and even the maze is kind of silly. But the footprint thing
Yeah,
is a
sure.
direct reference. It's a direct reference.
Yeah.
I'm always talking about how Stanley Kubrick basically, embedded himself in our brains forever, and
Yeah.
that we reference him in ways sometimes we don't even consciously understand.
Yeah.
This was, I think, a deliberate moment to use that great iconic part when Danny learns to cover his tracks, and all of a sudden his little footprints just vanish in the snow.
Yeah.
This happened with water, so it was kind of different, but same concept. So
Yeah.
that's the strongest connection, I think.
I think that's interesting, and I don't think it's totally.
Don't begrudge me.
I don't think it's totally unfounded. I think it's all right.
Okay.
That is a good transition to my next one because
Okay.
you were just talking about the weird visual panels and all that stuff, which is Enter the Dragon.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So just a 21st century update on the whole mirror, reflective room thingy.
Yeah.
Which is kind of hilarious when you think about the idea that they did that.
Yeah, I was like, what is this?
Is that okay? All right, and I loved it.
Visually, yes.
Yeah, well, no, not just visually. I loved it because at that point when they first, now it didn't really pay off too well, but when they first revealed it, I was still on board with the movie. I was like, okay, this is gonna be ridiculous,
Right,
yeah, and I was like, okay, so just being in a giant burning tower isn't enough. We also need The Rock as Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
And so I loved it in that moment. I was like, oh, this is going to be fucking great once this comes back.
Yeah. Welcome to heaven, Mr. Rock. I was like, oh boy.
Yeah. So I did love it at that point. It didn't quite pay off, although it was kind of ridiculous and
It was
a little bit
cool.
of fun. But
I'm behind you.
Yeah.
It's what I want The Rock to say to me all the time. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Living vicariously through Hans Gruber V2.
Oh my god, yeah. So totally ridiculous.
Yeah,
but-
really. I just don't like. I'm not to sound repetitive, but I'm still hung up on why is that the ninth wonder of the world? I don't. What is this? Why would I travel to Hong Kong to stand in that room?
Ghost Bar has kind of had it for a
Yeah,
long time.
It's like the oldest trick in the book. Set a couple mirrors up. Do you need 8K panels? I don't
Yeah.
think so.
I don't know. I mean, I think it was pretty cool to see. I mean, I'd go, if it was a real thing.
I suppose.
I'd check it out.
Yeah, if I happen to be in Hong Kong.
Yeah, if I was in Hong Kong and had $1 million,
Yeah.
I'd go up to heaven.
It's
for a
like
minute.
Disney Paris.
Yeah.
It's like, Disneyland in Paris. It's like, if I'm there, I'll go check it out. But
Now imagine a world in which this was like an Avatar size hit, and they recreate that for real at like Disney or wherever. I don't know who owns
See, that'd be
rights to
cool.
this.
Yeah.
I'd be there.
I guess I'd check it out. I just don't understand how it's like the next thing. I don't know
Yeah.
what service it provides.
It
just, like-
provides standing in air, I guess.
Oh, okay,
right?
all right.
I mean, I don't know.
Apparently, like 1,000 feet above Hong Kong is heaven.
Yeah.
So, all right, noted.
Yeah.
I'll
Got
accept it.
You
I'll
got it.
let it go. I'll let it go. I don't get it, but I'm gonna let it go.
What is your next puzzle piece?
My next puzzle piece is Taken.
Okay.
Because for a couple of reasons. So there is a literal connection, I think, where they take his daughter, and he's like, I'm gonna use my skills as this not firefighter, FBI / legless contractor
Right.
to get my daughter back.
Yeah.
So that's that. There is like, it's basically like the second half of the film, I think, is like an abridged version of Taken inside the tower.
Yeah.
That's just like the most obvious connection. But also too, Taken, I think, along with The Dark Knight, is one of the most influential action films of the past decade.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, they're all every new movie is kind of like The Dark Knight or Taken.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely fair. Yeah. And every actor has to have their Taken.
Yeah, exactly.
that's-
Denzel Washington's the Equalizer now.
Yeah.
That's just Taken.
Yeah.
There's like just a billion. There's Nicolas Cage had Stolen,
Yeah.
which is fucking Taken. And so there's all kinds of different Takens out there now. There was like 3 Taken films.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious to poor Brian Mills. Like, can't catch a break. He's like the adult Macaulay Culkin from Home Alone. It's like, can we stop stealing this person's family and or leaving this child at home? My goodness. Anyway, so it's amazing to me that there's like the same movie with the same plot over and over again. That always blows my mind. But anyway, so yeah, Taken, man. It is very influential though. Like when we saw Liam Neeson give that speech, we were like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Oscar Schindler is now an action hero. And it blew our minds. It really did. It was like, it's not a particularly good film. It was just kind of a whatever movie. But really satisfying to see a serious actor go apeshit. Like we tapped into something in us that we really liked. And then he went on to, of course, be an action star for like the next 6 years or something. And he walked away finally because he's like, I'm a serious actor. I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, so now a lot of movies I see Taken in it. And this one is no different, I think. Yeah.
No, that's a really good one. And The Rock doesn't really have a specific Taken yet, does he?
Skyscraper.
Yeah, I guess Skyscraper kind of is his Taken in quite a lot of ways. Like you just mentioned, the daughter thing and all that, and like the whole last portion of the movie. Yeah,
it's
I'm
all
coming
about
to get
saving
you,
the
and
daughter.
I'm gonna kill you, and all that.
Yeah, a European man has his daughter.
Yeah,
he goes and tries to take her back.
Yeah,
it's Taken.
I think it's Taken.
It's Taken in the same way that Noah's shining in a boat. I think that this is Taken in a skyscraper.
Right. Yeah. There you go. That's good. I like it.
Yeah. What else you got?
So I have one last puzzle piece here, and it's basically a genre of movie. Really, it's just like a country of movie. It's Japanese action movies in general. I thought specifically about Jackie Chan, Jet Li movies. With all the acrobatics and the flipping around and flipping in and out of buildings, and and then of course with the whole the setting and everything like that as well.
Sure.
And also the appeal for multiple markets and all that, which is a little
merchandising.
Yeah, that's a little merchandising. Yeah,
Spaceballs, the lunchbox.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, no, and it just kind of had a bit of that kind of a feel to it, those kind of movies, especially all the scenes outside of the building,
Yeah. There was kind of I can definitely see that. This is somehow kind of connects. I didn't want to mention this because I didn't know how it really connected, but let's just go crazy and say it.
Sure.
I felt a little bit of like a Rush Hour vibe.
Okay.
I don't know why though. That's why I wasn't going to say anything because I have no reason to back that up.
I'm putting it down.
There's something about it though that just felt like, I think it was the outside scenes of like the Hong Kong police working with Nev Campbell and stuff, because I kind of feel like some of the Rush Hour films kind of drew from some old Hong Kong films, like that's but more fun in a more fun way.
Sure.
It took
yeah.
like the American buddy action film and it mixed it with those more action based films,
Yeah.
and so it kind of gave me. So maybe it was subliminal, and then when you brought it up, maybe that there's something tapping into like that West meets East idea.
This is interesting. I don't. And maybe I'm forgetting about a major movie here, but are there any Japanese disaster movies other than Godzilla? But I mean, yeah, are there any like just general natural disaster movies? Because
Probably.
Yeah, there's probably, but I can't think of any. But I mean, in a lot of ways, I feel like your disaster movie, Puzzle Piece, and
yeah, kind of the
Japanese movies,
Japanese films. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, they're all kind of merges.
Yeah,
and that's kind of really where I mean, the Rush Hours were funny. They're really well. So if this was a little bit funnier, I think there'd be a stronger connection.
Yeah.
But there's something about I think like the East meets West fighting style, kind of silly, over the top. There's just something that was reminiscent to me about the Rush Hour movies. I don't know why that is.
I totally see.
Do you see the little there?
Yeah, I definitely see where you're going with that.
Yeah, I can't really articulate it, but there's just a vibe. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I actually I hate Brett Ratner or The Passion. But
Yeah,
I really
sure.
yeah, he's horrible.
Yeah.
Not even for like all. I mean, I hate him for all his.
Right, you hated him for the movies before he was an awful person.
Yeah, he's always been awful.
Yeah.
But then he did. I mean, and I was just like, I knew it. It's like Bryan Singer. I'm waiting for your fucking day, buddy. You are a horrible human being. But anyway, so yeah, never liked him. But for some reason, love Rush Hour 1 and 2.
Hey, they're great.
They're great
movies.
Yeah, I'll take it, Brett. Whatever.
Oh yeah.
Well, I have one last one.
Okay, go for it.
And I kind of wedged another one in. I'm wedging all kinds in there. I'm sorry.
Do it.
But ready?
Yes.
Dark Knight.
No.
I said I was gonna say.
Yeah, that's right. You tricked me. You kind of threw me, and now we're back to it.
I didn't even talk about it. I just mentioned it.
Okay.
Yeah, and
let's get into it.
So no, here's why though. Because ever since Dark Knight, I think it's become a trend of like those high helicopter shots of Hong Kong and large buildings and metropolis type areas, metropolitan areas. And I think that there's been like a connection to travel and a variety of locations that gives a sense of grandeur. And in this film, we don't really travel; we stay in one spot, but we use Hong Kong, which has become such a hub. And even the character, the main tech guy, the guy who invented the building, is the same guy from The Dark Knight. He's like Chow or Chang or that sounds very uneducated, just spewing some kind of Chinese name, but it is one of those names, Hong, I think. Hong. Yeah. Anyway, so but yeah, so he played that. He's in that film, and so I think there's a connection from that standpoint, which is arbitrary, but there's just a feeling now. I mean, like I said, kind of like with Taken, action films, I think, are The Dark Knight now in terms of their approach, their style, their sense. They want to be painting on a huge canvas.
Mm-hmm.
The Dark Knight, I think what set it apart, made it so successful, is that it painted on such a huge canvas.
Yeah,
it took this Batman legend that has it's been sprawling and humongous in the comics and for a lot of fans, but for a lot of the movie people, it's been like Gotham City, and then it became like a clown house with the Joel Schumacher films. So to see it on this huge scale, and then to also give it a sense of reality by going to places that we acknowledge and we know, I think it gave it a different kind of grandeur and panache. And I think that this film kind of wanted to make you feel that way with its epic shots of Hong Kong and the landscape and the architecture, and it just kind of had a Dark Knight type feel in a smaller way, but
sure,
that it's become, I think that's without a doubt the most influential action film of the decade. So I think it just bleeds into everything, including Skyscraper.
Well, I think also, I mean, to add to that, and again, we're going back to problems we had with the movie, but I think the Dark Knight influence is part of the reason why it's so not particularly funny or fun. It's more dark and serious, whereas this movie needed more comedy.
It did, yeah. I think, but I also do stand by the comment that like this was, I think, an honest try to give us a 90s film too.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I just don't think it's what it needed.
Yeah.
It was kind of too funny, and the premise is too absurd to play it as serious as they did.
Yes, exactly.
And that's just you got to know.
And The Rock is too charismatic an actor to use him in something that's so serious.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly. I think they really misused The Rock because he is really a talented guy. I mean, you can hardly take your eyes off him. That's not some kind of sexual joke.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a really fascinating, good actor. And he's complex in his way, but you just have to let him be in the kind of atmosphere he needs to be in. You know what I mean, he's the Scorpion King.
His few light moments do land. I mean, the audience laughed and everything. I laughed. But they're probably you could fit them on one hand. As how few times he got a chance to make a joke.
Yeah, and it's all kind of based like his leg was there's a big joke in that, which is kind of like, man, it's not very particularly good humor.
Yeah.
The worst joke is of course turning the building off and turning it back on.
Oh God.
It's like, and that's the thing is like it's one of those things where maybe because I'm hypersensitive to this, but like it's like screenwriting. Paint by numbers. It's like screenwriting by numbers.
Sure.
But it's like, hey, honey, fix my phone.
Yeah.
And then there's like a 5-minute thing about fixing phones. He's like, turn it back on, turn it off. And usually 95% of the time you can turn it off and turn it back on and it fixes it.
So obvious.
And at that moment, I was like, they're going to fucking turn this building off.
Yeah.
I was like, they're going to turn this building off and turn it the fuck back on. I know that's going to happen. And guess what? It did.
It fucking happened.
And then the guy was like, you have a great family. It's a great family you got there. He was like, I'm a lucky man.
Do you think what's his name? Inspector Wu, I think it was. Is that character?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do you think him and The Rock and Neve Campbell, their characters in the world of the movie ever talked again after that moment?
No.
Hey, great family. Hey, thanks, man. Just never see you again.
Thank you. Yeah, it's funny. That kind of reminds me of a joke that I always make about The Dark Knight, actually, how it's semi-connected, is when I think about how like Gordon faked his death and like told nobody, including his family.
Yeah.
Like I always think about like, imagine like 20 years later and they're having a family barbecue and the son's like, hey dad, remember when there was like this murderous clown and you faked your own death? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, it's pretty weird. Pretty weird that you did that. How odd.
You're a weird dude.
I thought you were dead for like a long weekend. Pretty sure you were dead. Yeah. So I always think about stuff like that when like things happen in movies and we only have 2 hours and so like ridiculous things happen. But I'd love to see like just a flash forward of like them reminiscing on those moments.
Yeah.
Remember Inspector Wu? He was a good guy.
I like that guy.
What happened to Wu? Where'd Wu go?
Oh, he died 5 years ago.
Oh yeah. As soon as he walked
accident in a tower.
Yeah, as soon as he walked away from you, a piece of debris took him out. Stuff like that.
Poor
Yeah, so
Wu.
that was like the end. I was like, oh man, because like it was the opening of the film was really heavy on cliches, and then the end of the film was also really heavy on cliches.
Yeah, yeah.
And the middle piece was like one giant cliche, so you can kind of let it go and have fun with it. And he repelled out of the window with like the drapery.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's what? The Rock is 9,000 pounds. There's no way.
Oh man.
So yeah, I mean, a lot of insane stuff.
Well, I think that brings us to the finished puzzle here. I'm going to read down the list of all the movies we just discussed. So, of course, we start off with Die Hard. Mm-hmm. But then we moved on to King Kong, True Lies, The Towering Inferno, the Mission Impossible franchise, especially Ghost Protocol, The Rock, Japanese action movies, Sherlock Holmes 2, disaster films, The Shining, Taken, Rush Hour. Did I forget one here? No, The Dark Knight, and that's the last one.
Is there anything else for? I think that's it for me.
Yeah. So I mean, like we said at the beginning, a huge, a huge list of movies that are just so influential to lots of other movies as well. Because this is a movie, not to steal the joke, but I'll give credit. Collider.com, they in their review, their headline was "Action Movie the Movie." And I think that's so apt.
It's very spot on. Yeah, but so you can really say that about almost every new action movie, though. Like,
lately,
what action movie really goes above and beyond. Like I can, I'm not. I mean, I won't. It's not a secret that I'm not a big like Hollywood blockbuster guy. I mean, I do like films like First Reformed that we did last time. These are more my kind of speed of movies.
Sure.
But at the same time, I like to watch. I go to every movie. I like to see everything.
Yeah.
And I can on a hand, I could name the action movies that have stuck with me, and it's like Terminator 2, Dark Knight.
Best.
Yeah, Terminator 2 is the best action movie of all time.
Absolutely,
hands
I
down,
agree.
Hands down, great film.
All right.
And I hate James Cameron.
Yeah.
But that is a great movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
And but yeah, so like I mean, there's a handful, and it's because they all kind of tread the same path, and it's not their fault. I mean, people go and see them. And I saw it at 11:30 in the morning on a Wednesday, and I was like, I'm gonna be the only one in this movie theater, and it was packed.
Yeah, nice.
So that's the thing is these movies bring in the money, and if people enjoy them, then that's what they're there for. That's okay. Of course, it's always good to strive for more and try to maybe break the mold a little bit.
Yeah.
But you can't always do it. And if you want to do a throwback and do a Towering Inferno or a Die Hard, good for you. Why not?
Well, I that makes me really happy that the theater was packed at 11:30 on a Wednesday because
all old white people, but packed.
Yeah, sure. But I'm in the same boat where I like more heady movies usually and everything, but it's like those aren't the movies that are going to bring people back into the theater and keep the the movie industry going. Like movies like Skyscraper need to do good, and honestly, I liked it. I didn't love it, but there was enough about it that I liked that to me it was worthwhile. And I want it to do better than it's done so far.
Yeah, no, I can see that. I totally understand. I mean, I think for the long game of the industry being healthy and the theater business being healthy, I think people should go out and see it and give it a shot. For me, it wasn't as fun as I thought it was going to be. I thought Rock in a exploding skyscraper is going to be a ball.
That's the number one problem, is that it wasn't as fun as it
needs to
been.
be. Yeah, it just wasn't. And and the thing is when you have a lot of tropes and cliches, but it's totally silly to an extent, like you can forgive a lot more.
Yeah.
But when they're really trying to sell me a family drama in the center of this movie and they're packing it with cliches, I'm like, all right, that's where I've had enough.
So I got to tell you the joke that I wrote down that I was so disappointed they didn't make.
Oh, please do.
I just can't believe they didn't make it. As they're walking away from the building after all that had happened, when he's walking away with the main guy in charge who made the building, why didn't The Rock say, "So did I get the job"?
That would have been perfect.
I mean, that would have killed as an ending. I mean,
that would have been great. Instead of just like a slow fade out of the building burning, that was again too serious.
Yeah.
Did I get the job? That would have been amazing.
Would have been perfect.
I would have stuck Carl Winslow in it. I would have put a black cop from Chicago in the middle of Hong Kong, just confused and old. And that's how I would have ended it.
Oh, wait, so it's old Winslow?
Yeah, it's just him now.
Yeah.
And he's still
For
a
some
cop.
reason, when you first said it, I was picturing somehow getting 80s Winslow.
We can do it.
Yeah.
The technology is there, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can. No actor has to die ever again.
He can be on those 8K screens just all around you.
Yeah, that should in the end is like 75,000 Carl Winslows on all those screens.
I mean, that kind of would be the eighth wonder of the world.
That would have been
I'd be
that would be heaven for sure. Then.
I'd be so down.
That's what I hope happens when I die.
So, Kris, you got anything you want to plug?
I do, yeah. So usually it's just like a long abstract thing. I'm working on a movie that will one day be made, which is still the case. I'm still working on a film, of course. That's we're raising money, so it's a very long process, but it's a very exciting film, and that's in the works. But the biggest thing that I'm working on that's a little bit more in the immediate is a new web series called "It's All Downhill from Here." And the interesting thing is that it actually stars me.
Yes.
Which is crazy. I'm not like an actor. I don't usually go in front of the camera. I don't pull an M. Night Shyamalan where I'm in the background or anything. But I've decided that there needs to be more me in the world. No, I'm just
fine
kidding.
with that. I'm completely fine with that.
But it's a comedy web series that we're shooting currently. The premise is that I play myself, kind of like a hopefully schlubbier, stupider version of myself. I like to think so anyway.
Depends who you ask.
It depends on who you ask, exactly. And I'm dying. And I have a nondescriptive or a ambiguous illness that's killing me, and but it's a comedy,
Mhm.
and so hopefully I'll die. We'll see what happens. I don't know. But in the meantime, while we're shooting it, we're taking the next 6 months to shoot several episodes, which we'll be releasing 1 week at a time, which you'll be able to subscribe and follow the show. Just kind of like almost like a streaming service. We'll be able to release it that way. But in the meantime, I'm coming out with a weekly comic strip
Mhm.
that features a little Bitmoji version of myself dealing with the show's main antagonist, God.
Yes.
And it's all the pesky business that God gets up to while we are at his mercy. So you can go to the biggest thing is on Instagram right now. It's all downhill from here.tv. You can get updates on the show, how it's being made, some behind the scenes stuff, merchandise, and then every Sunday the new comic strip is released on Instagram and Facebook. You can also look up It's All Downhill From Here on Facebook and follow us. And then in about 6 months, I will be releasing episodes of the show.
Beautiful. Yeah, I've been following along to the comics, and they're great, and I'm looking forward to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about it. I think that they're funny. I think they're pretty out there and bizarre. Essentially it's about the frustration and confusion of a liberal guy in America today who feels totally helpless against all the insurmountable problems that we face as a society, and how an idiot just blunders through.
Beautiful.
And is dying sooner that different than dying later? Yeah.
Yeah.
I have my clock is wound a little tighter in the show, but is it really that different?
Yeah.
Didn't I have a terminal illness before I had a terminal illness? So sounds deep and heady, but it's also mainly insane, ridiculous jokes.
I like
so we'll
it.
see what happens.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, thanks again for being here, and we'll see if we get back to a little more
Yeah, make a movie that I don't have to try so hard to connect The Shining to. That'd be excellent. No, thank you very much for having me as always. This is the 3rd episode, so I'm very honored to be back here with you guys. Hope the listeners aren't getting bored of my drivel.
No,
and we'll be back
you're
anytime.
Gonna be back for sure.
All right.
All
Thank
right.
you to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Hi, this is Wax Trax Records here on 2909 South Decatur. We buy all your old 45s, your old albums, any type of music memorabilia. Also, we sell music memorabilia, albums, CDs, and a lot. Come on down to Wax Trax, 2909 South Decatur, or give me a call at 702-362-4300. Thank you very much.
So normally I do ads for other podcasts in that little slot there, but I figured why not an ad for Wax Trax Records, since my dad loved Skyscraper so much. He's like The Rock's biggest fan. So yeah, that's my dad's shop. That's where I am during the day. So check out Wax Trax Records. And also, I hope you checked out Skyscraper, and I hope you enjoyed this episode and our conversation about it. It was a really fun one to do, as you could hear. I like the movie, it definitely has its flaws, but overall, it's a fun time, without nitpicking it too much about what it could have been. What it is actually a pretty fun movie. Pretty ridiculous fun movie, but it's still pretty fun. So anyway, that's that for Skyscraper. I hope you're enjoying piecing it together. We will be back again next week with another episode, as long as I can fit one in during this whole podcast movement trip. If not, I'll throw up some kind of mini thing to hold us over, and then we'll definitely be back with another one soon after. But as always, please subscribe. You can subscribe on any major podcast app, and if your podcast app of choice does not have Piecing It Together, please tweet at me or email me by davidrosen@gmail.com, or just contact me one way or another and let me know so I can make sure we get it on there. But thank you to everyone who has subscribed already. Thank you to everyone who has been checking out the show. Thank you so much to everyone who sends us feedback. We really would love your feedback. If you haven't yet, we want to know what you're liking about the show, what you don't like about the show. Please get in touch. You could either review us on iTunes, which would be awesome if you did that, or you could just tweet at us or post something on our Facebook or something like that. And speaking of Facebook, I don't think I remembered to mention this in the beginning of the show. Make sure you join our group on Facebook, Piecing It Together, a movie discussion group. In there, we're talking about all kinds of movies. We talk about new movie trailers. We talk about just anything movies. And we've been having a lot of fun in there. We want to get you involved in it. So definitely join Piecing It Together, a movie discussion group on Facebook. So with that, I just want to give a quick little plug for the fact that I have a new virtual reality music video called Palindrome coming out. If it's not up today when this show goes up, it will be up next Friday. It'll be available on YouTube. It'll be available on Samsung VR. And pretty much anywhere you can watch virtual reality 360-degree videos. We're going to be putting it up, and it's a crazy cool video for the track Palindrome from my new album, A Different Kind of Dream. In it, you're in this room where you start to float, and everything around you starts to float up with you. And then as you're moving towards the ceiling, you start to realize that, like a palindrome, everything is moving in a mirror image direction. It's trippy as hell. It is really cool, and it was made by this company, New Line Videography, who also made my last virtual reality music video, Constellations 360, which was like a huge hit. So I'm really excited to be following it up with them again, and I'm just really excited for this thing to get out there, and I think people are going to really dig it. So yeah, that's that, and I'm going to leave you with a song. I should do one that fits with the whole Skyscraper theme. I think we'll leave you with Burnout.
And all points west.